Alright, I'd like you to take out your books, turn to Unit 3. We're going to look at this time at pages 48 and 49. Page 48 and 49 gives us a little history about Mary Baker Eddy. She founded the Christian Science Church, and she had a unique experience as a young girl. She was very sick, and then she wound up praying to God, trusting in God to heal her, and she was healed through people reading the Bible to her and by praying to God. Because of that, she started a church called the Christian Science Church. Well, that wasn't the only reason, but she believed in God, and she started this church, and they don't believe that people should use any drugs or medicine at all. They believe that people should pray to God and just trust in God when they have problems. What do you think about that? Do you think it's a good idea to just trust in God when we have a problem in our life? You probably do. A lot of people actually feel that way. But maybe you don't really think like a Christian Scientist, because a Christian Scientist would believe that we don't go to the doctors at all, that we only trust in God and read the Bible. Very interesting belief, isn't it? Thank you very much.
Turn it off.
Once again, I'd like you to take out your book and let's look at pages 50 to 51. On these pages, it talks about dying for their beliefs. There was a Christian Science family, and their child was sick. They did not take their child to the doctor, and then their daughter died. After that, they wound up being found guilty of negligence in court. Some people think maybe they were really guilty, other people don't, but it was their belief to not go to the doctor. What do you think about this case? I'd like you to go through this reading. There's some hard words in this reading. There's some tough vocabulary. Make sure you do the answers in the book and go through the things that you find here. And there is a writing, okay, or something you could express your opinion about on page 54. So you could share your answers with the class. If you'd like to email your answers to that, that'd be great. Thanks a lot. Norman Cousins started something very interesting, and if you read this on page 55, it's all about laugh therapy. He was very sick, and he was told by his doctor that he would probably die. After he received that news, instead of becoming sad, he decided to be positive. I like chapter 2. He thought, here's what it says, actually paragraph 2, it ends at the ending of paragraph 2 on page 55. It says, he thought, if negative emotions produce changes in the body, wouldn't positive emotions produce positive chemical changes? Is it possible that love, hope, faith, laughter, confidence, and the will to live have positive therapeutic value? He decided to concentrate on positive emotions, paragraph 3 here, as a remedy to heal some of the symptoms of his ailment, and he wound up being cured by just using positive thoughts. And I want you to think of love, hope, faith, laughter, confidence, and the will to live. I believe those have positive effects on our lives. What kind of positive effects can they have on our life? It's really something to think about. And do you believe that there's a connection between the mind and the body? Norman Cousins believes there's a strong connection between what we think and the health that we have. Some doctors have said that 90% of the illnesses in this world are from mental things. In other words, they come from our mind more than an actual situation that happens. Up to 90%, this one doctor said. I'm not a doctor myself, but I do believe that our mind controls a lot of our health, and that if we focus on positive things in our life will be more positive. How can you focus on positive things in life? What can you do to stay positive in life? Those are things to think about. Once again, it's Mike Climo. Have a great day. The writing for Unit 3 will be your first essay. It starts on page 61 in your book, so if you take out your book and turn to page 61, you will see that in this unit, you read about the Hermansons who were found guilty, and it says you are going to write an opinion essay expressing your opinion. I'd like us to turn to page 62. And page 62, it tells us what an opinion essay is. And it says, write an opinion essay. An essay is a group of paragraphs about one topic. An opinion essay is written to persuade or convince the reader that your opinion is the right way of thinking. An opinion essay has three parts: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. The introduction is the first part of the essay, and in the introduction, you start to introduce what you will be talking about in general, and then you say in your introduction a thesis. The thesis is the main idea of what you will write about. After that, you will write the body paragraphs. And the body paragraphs, well, that can just be a few paragraphs, since this is your first essay. And then you move into the conclusion. Please study this part of your textbook. There is an example essay that I'd like you to read, and please go through that. In the introduction it says, shocking, disappointing. These two words come to mind when reading the word guilty in the Hermanson verdict. That loving and devoted parents could be convicted of negligence is against everything the United States stands for. First, let me say that I am a loving and devoted parent. I am president of our local Parent-Teacher Association. I am a Harvard graduate and a lawyer. I am also a Christian Scientist. From this personal perspective, I believe in the power of spiritual healing and the right of families to choose the treatment they feel is most effective. Now that is the introduction of this essay, and if you turn to page 64, they're asking you to find the parts of the essay, the introduction, the thesis, the body paragraphs. You see all this on page 64. But I'd like us to go back real quick, because it's asking you to make an essay organizer of, like this, when you write your own essay. And you know what? I think the best topics to write about are actually on page 66, and what you will see is on page 66 there's some alternative writing topics right there. And those two topics are much more interesting than what you see on page 61. And I'd like you to choose one of those topics to write a complete essay about. The first question is that different cultures define non-conventional medicine in different ways. What do you think non-conventional medicine is? How do you feel about the use of non-conventional medicine? Well, I'll be honest with you, that's a good question. I think a lot of people like to use non-conventional medicine. Some people use herbal medicine that comes from plants, and my wife does that a lot. She had problems. She had pre-diabetes. She didn't have diabetes, thank God, but she had pre-diabetes, and well, she's from Brazil, so she took a special plant from Brazil called pata de vaca, and it really helped her with her pre-diabetes. In fact, it went away. Now, she didn't only take that medicine, she also worked on her diet. She changed her diet and how she was eating food and what kinds of food she was eating. And she exercised more. non-conventional medicines might be considered, things that are different than just going to the doctor. Some people believe in, they believe in going to a chiropractor. They believe in exercise. They believe in yoga or stretching. They believe in trusting in God. They believe that there are many ways that they can be healed from their sickness and diseases. Do you use any of these non-conventional medicines? Which ones do you think work? If you wrote this essay, it'd be really easy. You would write basically an introduction, maybe starting kind of general and saying something like, a lot of people go to doctors, and even if they go to a doctor for a long time, they might not be healed. There are other options. Why not try a non-conventional medicine? There are many kinds of effective alternative treatments, and then you could explain a few of those. Another good essay writing topic in Unit 3 is number 2 here on page 66 in the alternative writing topics. It says, what do you think of Norman Cousins' laugh therapy? Do you think there is any truth to the idea of a mind-body interaction? Have you or someone you know had a medical experience where the mind was stronger than the body? That's a good question, isn't it? I'd like you to think about what kind of mind-body connections you know about and how they work and how you can show that to others. Boy, it sure is interesting. I believe there is a connection between the mind and the body, and I think most other people believe that as well. Well, choose one of those topics. If you believe there's a mind-body connection, you might explain maybe 2 reasons why you think that exists. Also, if you read his reading on page 55, let me show you that to you. On page 55, it talks about, he talks about positive things like love and faith, hope, confidence. You could write about maybe 2 of those and how they can help a person overcome a sickness and a problem in their life. I hope you enjoy writing this essay. Please email it to me, and I'll see you later. Thanks a lot. Bye.